6 tips on how to stay safe while ride sharing during riots. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. As many of you may know, tomorrow is a historic day. We will have the first president in American history to literally be indicted and processed at a jail. This has happened in New York. President Trump himself has called for protests. Now, whether these protests will remain peaceful or not is something that we will have to wait and see. Obviously, there are folks who suggest on January 6th, a couple years ago, the president himself called for protests, but also called for them to be peaceful. That is debatable, but they turned out to be anything but peaceful. Nevertheless, he is calling for another protest. And the reason I'm bringing this up, although he is being arraigned in Manhattan, protests could spark anywhere in any metropolitan area throughout this country. Nevertheless, we are going to be out here driving, many of us in ride sharing. And this video is giving you 6 tips on how to stay safe during a riot, during a huge protest. Number 1, stay away from the damn protest. If you see folks protesting, drive around that. Do not go down blocks where there are large folks gathering, holding up signs or whatever the case may be. This happened many times during Black Lives Matter protests, and owners had their cars beaten, windows busted out and things like that. Just simply stay away from areas where protests are going on. Number 2, avoid picking up anyone that has political clothing or gear on, particularly MAGA hats. Why the hell would I say that? Well, it makes that person a target. You don't know where you're taking that passenger to when you pick them up oftentimes, and you certainly do not know who you are going to be passing with that passenger in the vehicle. If there is a protest, wide-scale protest or riots going on in a city, and you got a passenger in the back of your vehicle with a MAGA hat on, any opposing protester that see what is in the backseat of your vehicle may all of a sudden see your car as a target. We have had Uber drivers lose their lives because someone wanted to get to the passenger in the backseat. So avoid picking up passengers that have big ass political t-shirts, the MAGA hat, or anything like that on. Next, listen for the sirens, look for the lights. You don't have to be right in front of a protest to hear enough stuff going around you to know something is happening in that area. If you see a lot of law enforcement or attention going to one area, don't go to that area. I don't care if you have a trip down that block, cancel that trip. We're talking about staying safe, not earning 70 or 80 cents a mile. So keep that in mind. Look for the sirens, or better yet, listen for the sirens and look for the lights. That is a clue to letting you know an area that is undesirable. Next, number 4, do not talk politics with passengers or play the news on your radio. I cannot stress that strong enough. You'd ask, why the hell would you not play the news? There's a hell of a lot of folks that not only do not trust what's coming from the news, but literally get angry by what some of the journalists may state. So if you get passengers in your car during a time like this where things are heated and they hear an opposing radio station from the politician that they favor, they may get angry at you for playing the damn radio station. Turn off Fox. Don't play that CNN shit. Turn that off. So I'm going to advise during this troubling time where we're talking about political unrest being a real possibility, when you pick up passengers, do not have the news playing in your vehicle. Put on some jazz. Serious. Or you can even ask the passenger, is there anything you would like to listen to, and let that car be quiet. But put on something very neutral that does not have any bias to it at all. Next, in regards to putting on music that is neutral, dress neutral. Obviously, this one could be up in the air. I'm not saying it could have a strong issue, but you know, when it comes to the political parties in this country, one side represents red, the other side represents blue, similar to the Crips and Bloods. But during this time, wearing a certain color could literally trigger some of the craziest idiots out here. Dress neutral. You're just saying dress neutral. Not really foreseeing this may be a huge issue, but when folks are already looking for something to go off about, you never know what may trigger someone. You're talking about literally a former president being arrested, potentially having a mugshot taken. I don't believe they're going to put the guy in handcuffs. That's what a lot of the political analysts are saying. But they are saying a mugshot, for instance, a mugshot might be a real possibility. So that kind of goes in regards to item number 2 on this list. When I talked about political clothing, if you got a passenger that gets in your car that done went out and made a t-shirt with Trump's face on it, with an orange jumpsuit on or something like that, don't pick that passenger up. It doesn't matter how you feel about President Trump, whether you think he deserves to be in an orange jumpsuit or you think that he is dealing with a political witch hunt. Whatever the case may be, as I stated, picking these folks up could make your entire vehicle a target. So if somebody's wearing some real flamboyant political clothing, I would not pick them up on this particular day. And last but not least, number 6, I feel is the most important thing on the list, but not just during political upheaval, but really any day you engage in ride sharing. Keep your tools on you. Tools meaning dash cam, so you can record what the heck is going on in your vehicle. And last but not least, some way of defending yourself. I start out always at least saying have mace. If not mace or pepper spray, then you would have some sort of slicing or poking tool. And that would usually be in conjunction with mace. Just in case the mace doesn't work, you can then slice or poke. And last but not least, a firearm if you feel comfortable having such. But always be prepared to defend yourself. So these are my 6 my 6 tips during political unrest. And like I stated before, keep in mind that even though the event is taking place in Manhattan, it could be just like with the Black Lives Matter issue, where you could slowly start having unrest in metropolitan areas all over the country. So it does not necessarily have to be limited to what's going on in New York. Now, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Georgia has already stated she will be in New York to protest. And she is a well-known political figure for the Republican side of the aisle. So if you're driving in New York, you certainly will likely see something. They've already activated the entire police force in New York. Even the plainclothes folks now have to wear uniforms on that day just to make sure the police presence is noticeable everywhere you go. But that's just in New York. As I stated, any metropolitan area, you do not know what could take place. There's a lot of hated politicians all over America. Trump has targeted and named a hell of a lot of people. Any of those folks could be the center of attention on this day. So pay attention to where you drive and keep your head on the swivel. Tools, definitely. See you in the next video. And as always, subscribe to the damn channel. Catch you then.